basically were trying to make, like, we want a smart Porky's. You know, can you do something like that? And he said, yeah, well, I got a script about, you know, guys running around a mall.
Couple kids running around a fucking mall.
Yeah. And they're just like, that's fantastic. Here's $6 million. He goes, for fucking what? Mall.
For your kids running around a fucking mall.
Yeah. Go to a fucking mall. And they go,
run around.
They go, you can't make a movie for under $6 million. And he said, I made a movie for $27,000. They said, that's not really a movie. And he went, yeah, I guess you're right.
Well, fuck, you know.
Because that's what you do in your second movie, and somebody wants to offer you on how to do stuff. So that's what he did. I don't know how the fuck this became a Smart Porky's, because it's not. I don't know why they thought that would be a thing, too. Like, as they say, teen titty pictures aren't really a thing anymore. They ended in the 80s and have not made a return. So I don't know why they thought that would work, other than, you know, boobies are fun, I guess.
Well, to be fair,
sure,
they made a slight resurgence with the American Pie pictures.
Yeah, but that was 1999.
And like Kevin,
that's true.
Like
you are right. I completely forgot about the 3 or 2 American Pie pictures that people give a shit about.
Then
right?
then you factor in Road Trip and all those movies that were made.
That came after.
But this was all after.
Yeah.
So,
well,
fucking poor Kevin Smith's making a movie in a genre that isn't going to be a thing for another 4 years.
Which is, again, the other story of his career, where he's making movies like this, which are R-rated guy buddy movies, and he's just about a decade too soon because Judd Apatow, anyone?
Yep.
You know? And Kevin has commented on that, and he got a little angry after that.
Yeah, a little bitter.
Rightfully so, I think. I mean, you know, some people dislike Kevin Smith, and that's fine. You don't have to like him, but...
He's a polarizing figure.
He really is. But
I think you love him or you hate him.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you do have to, like, you do have to understand his anger in this situation. Like, he was making the same movies, pretty much almost exact, and Judd Apatow's movies were better. And I'm not saying, like, you know, these are all based on opinion. I'm just saying the Judd Apatow movies were basically making the same thing. Like, some people are like, oh, they're better. Well, that's on you. Like, you think that's cool. You know, I actually tend to prefer Kevin's movies over Judd Apatow. That's me. Just opinion, not fact. That's not how this works.
Well, also, those are more stoner pictures.
That, too. You know, and I don't smoke weed.
Kev is a stoner now. He wasn't back then.
Not. No, he never wrote, like, all his stoner characters he wrote while sober, and if you watch them, you can tell. Yeah. He clearly doesn't know much about marijuana, judging by his characters.
Yep.
So a little bit about the cast. Jason Lee was a retired professional skateboarder, and this was his first movie. I did research years ago and found out that, Jason Lee was a deal as far as a skateboarder. Like, you know, if you talk about in the skateboarding world, if you say the name Jason Lee, it's like, oh my god, he's revered. Because he created a bunch of tricks that are apparently still used today. He had his own shoe, which he brought into Kevin in his audition. That's how one of the reasons he got the part. Is just like, because one of the reasons...
Here's a pair of my shoes.
Yeah, because one of the reasons Jason Lee got the part was not that they were like, oh, we think he's good for anything. Because they actually had cast somebody else for Brody. And that guy just didn't work out. So they ended up casting Jason Lee. But there was just like, oh, he's not good for anything, but... we like him. You want to keep bringing him up? So they would keep bringing him in just because they liked him. So, and that was how he ended up getting in the movie. Shannon Doherty. Okay, Kevin has said in the commentary.
Brenda?
we'll get there. We'll get there. Kevin has said, because Shannon Doherty has a notorious... she's known the world over as being an absolute bitch. Kevin said, I can see where it comes from, but she was cool to me. We'll go with that.
It's one of those. It's one of those, like, I could see that she was a bitch to you, but to me, she was cool. So I can't call her that because she wasn't to me.
But I think she was also she's very strong, like, very hard-headed. And I think some people can be like, well, fuck you. You're just an actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the stories I heard about Beverly Hills 90210, yeah, she was a bitch. I'm sorry. She was really high in her britches and just almost on the sense of, like, well, I'm the fucking star of this show. You can't fire me. Want to bet? So, but the thing that was actually kind of funny was she was contractually, it was in her contract that she got to keep her own wardrobe. That's why if you watch the movie, she changes like 4 or 5 times over the course of the day in the mall. Because she got to keep her wardrobe, so she basically, you know, she wore as much as she wanted. And convinced Kevin that this made sense. No. But he did kind of get her back inadvertently, because if you look at the jacket in the elevator scene... He stitched the word Degrassi on it, which makes all of us Canadians very happy because we're all huge Degrassi fans, and if you're not, I don't want to know you. And she was pissed. She was very pissed. And then Kevin was pissed because he couldn't get the rights to use the Degrassi logo because he wanted to stitch the actual logo. And apparently, and I could not find it for the life of me because you better believe it would have been the start of the show, Kevin went on Speaker's Corner and bitched about it many, many years ago.
Like he was in Toronto?
Yeah. He was in Toronto, potentially promoting this flick.
Popped over to City.
And was at Speaker's Corner and railed on it. I could not find it because the one site that hosted it doesn't exist anymore. But it was a thing.
I miss Speaker's Corner.
So do I. But in all fairness...
I mean, in 2018, Speaker's Corner would be very different. Very different, and I'm glad it's not a thing anymore. Yeah. But
I mean, at the same time, I had a fan... Like... That whole world doesn't exist anymore because I remember like a couple weeks back I hung out with my sister. We sat on the couch and watched a channel that is devoted to music videos. The hell you say? We sat there like Beavis and Butthead, like commenting on everything, and I'm like, oh my god, they brought back Much Music, kinda, except Much is now MTV, so they don't play music videos because that's not the world we live in. Anyway, so this is amazing. So originally, instead of Michael Rooker for Jared Svenning, they wanted to get William Atherton from Ghostbusters fame. I've heard he has no penis. But he didn't want to do the movie because he said it was childish. That year he made Biodome.
Ooh, that didn't age well.
That did not age well at all, so...
Although I do like Biodome.
I don't. I'm sure we'll watch it someday, and I'll explain why.
Best.
Ugh.
That'll be the best. It's the Weasel, buddy.
I intend that we should do an entire month on him, but off mic. So Joey Lauren Adams, that's a tongue twister, was supposed to play Renee, but as Kevin said, some quote-unquote Hollywood bullshit kept her out. I could not find what it was.
I'm just trying to think of her in that role.
It would have been fine.
I think I'm glad they went with...
I mean, Doherty works best. Yeah. It might just also be like we've seen her so much that we know. Because, I know for a fact I've seen this movie 1,000 times and can pretty much recite any line of dialogue you need.
I found
that out whilst watching this. No, they weren't dating yet. They were dating right before Chasing Amy started and then all through Chasing Amy.
Okay.
So probably because of this movie, actually it was because of this movie, because after they wrapped, they became friends, and then more than friends.
Yeah.
Woo! They started looking at each other's naughty bits. Yep, that's how I describe sex. Ladies. Ethan Suplee as Willem, only because the studio liked him. Because Willem was played by Scott Mosier in that other picture.
Is that supposed to be the same Willem?
Alternate universe they go with.
There's
no other excuse they can have, because clearly it's not the same Willem, because if you remember Willem and Clerks, he's much more subdued, because he's basically Scott Mosier, and if you've heard Scott Mosier talk, he has one note.
Yep. He has monotoned the person.
Yep, and he was supposed to, and Scott was supposed to reprise his role, but the studio liked him, and the studio did kind of force a lot of shit on Kevin in the writing period.
Yeah, he got Mosier in there.
He did. In a better character, I think.
Rowdy
I like
Roddy.
That character. Rowdy Roddy is awesome. And now you might be wondering, as we get to Jay and Silent Bob, how can they appear in this movie and also in Clerks when it's a different movie studio? Because usually that's not a thing, like Ask Marvel. Weirdly enough, Kevin decided when in his contract to sell Clerks, he wanted to hold on to the characters of Jay and Silent Bob.
Those are mine.
Why. He didn't know why, but he wanted to hold on to them. So he does, to this day, own Jay and Silent Bob. That's why, as of this recording, I'm going to put this on wax, because trust me, it may not happen. He is supposed to begin production. It was supposed to be in December. Now it looks like it's going to be February of 2019, where he's going to be working on another Jay and Silent Bob movie. I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah.
Batman Widening Gyre comes to mind, and if you're a comic book fan, you know why I'm angry.
Fuck. Mallrats 2 comes to mind.
Yeah, but at least he admitted what happened to that one. Yeah. He's not still on the fence going, come on, it's going to totally happen one day.
I know. But
right?
Still.
Fucking sequel to Batman Widening Gyre is a decade old. Don't end your book on a cliffhanger if you're not sure you're going to do the rest of it anytime soon, dickhead. I've got a lot of feelings on this.
Harboring feelings, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, if you ever read that book, you know why I'm angry.
Fair enough.
And I do recommend everyone do, because whatever you think of Kevin Smith, the man can write a comic. Okay, so... Oh, sorry, I jumped ahead in my own notes. That's interesting. So, the studio did not want Jason Mewes to play Jay.
Did you see Clerks? Did you watch?
They were like, fuck that kid. We don't like him. Well, we don't want him here, because he's not an actor. And
here's James Vanderbeek.
And Kevin also went, I'm not an actor either. And, I mean, technically, I'm not a director yet. So, fuck it. And then they were just like, no, we want you to cast some people. So he had Breckin Meyer.
That would have been fucking hilarious.
And Seth Green.
Oh, Jesus. As Jay and Silent Bob?
No.
Or just Jay?
Jay. Those two were the front runners for Jay.
And then, both of those guys are very tiny.
Yeah. That would have been very interesting. However, so what ended up happening was the studio basically said, fine, you can cast your little buddy, but we're not going to pay you to get him out here, because they were filming in Minnesota, because the mall is Eden Prairie Mall in Minnesota, not New Jersey, because he rarely films in New Jersey. And we're not going to fly Mewes out, and you have to put him in your hotel room. We're not going to pay for a hotel room for this asshole either. And he gets 1 day. And whatever he films in that 1 day, if we don't like it, we reserve the right to shit can him and bring in Seth Green. So what Kevin did, the only thing Kevin could possibly think to do was push all of Jason Mewes' stuff till the furthest he possibly could in the shoot. So they didn't bring in Mewes until near the end. And they had the one scene, I can't remember for the life of me which one it is. It might have been one of the backstage scenes near the end.
With the do it dog.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he didn't actually impress them at first. And Kevin pulled him aside and was like, dude, you gotta fucking do more than this, because seriously, they want to shit can you. Do something. And he fucking knocked it out of the park. And from that moment on, like that day after, I think the studio absolutely loved him and built part of the marketing campaign around him. So clearly the studio had no fucking clue what they were doing. This Alphaville people. Because, in all fairness, they made another picture that I'll get to in a minute that they fucked that up too. So this is kind of their thing, it seems. Okay. My notes are terrible, so I apologize for not being able to follow my own thing. Weirdly enough, I'm doing all of this from memory, yet I have my own notes to keep myself on track, and I just lost track, so I apologize for that.
So you're just...
I'm just stalling so I can figure out where the fuck I am. Okay, and I'm actually getting to the thing I was thinking about, so Jesus, I'm a genius there. So, you may recognize the fact that Ben Affleck, Joey Lauren Adams, and Jeremy London's younger brother Jason were all in another movie that Alphaville put out called Dazed and Confused, as Kevin used to refer to the unofficial casting for Mallrats. Yeah, also an Alphaville picture. Also a film that lost a shit ton of money, and everybody loves.
Also a film we'll probably be doing on this show.
Oh, I can guarantee that shit. So, clearly, listening to Alphaville was a bad idea, is all I'm saying. As Kevin always says, it's like really nice people couldn't market their way out of a paper bag.
Both those movies made it on VHS, and
they did
made a ton of money there.
Exactly. So Brody Bruce, T.S. Quint were named for Jaws. Brody and Quint and Bruce the Shark, because Kevin's a huge goddamn fan of Jaws. See Chasing Amy. Although that scene was supposed to be in this, where they compare scars from, oral sex, because classy. The shirt that Brody is wearing, all those faces, that is a morphed image of the headshots of 3 actors who didn't get the part. So technically they still made it in the movie. Right?
There you go.
Doesn't that count?
I think you can buy that shirt from his website.
Right? So, originally, I was telling you this off mic. Originally, in the script, there was a scene where Jay and Silent Bob were back in the change room because they bust in on Gwen twice in the change room. This was a third one where they just basically dropped all pretense and they just basically decided to spy on her in the change room. And
hey, you wanted a Porky scene.
Right? And that was literally, I think, the thought process on it. And Bob just gets so horned up, he just starts jerking off, and he shoots it over the partition, and it